and I want to discuss, why do people buy versus why they don't buy? Can anyone tell me? Put it in the chat. Why do you think people buy versus don't buy? Let's see if anyone's putting that in there. I have it on the setting. Okay, questions. Okay. So, Carol, why do you think people buy versus not buying? Carol Morgan. I got two Carols on here.
Right, you do. People buy based on, as far as I know, based on emotions.
Correct. People buy based on emotion. Do they buy because you have the next best thing since sliced bread? No. Do they buy because you have the best program? Based on what you've seen, Carol, in your experience in this industry.
I really feel that it's based on a relationship, a feeling that a person has with, if they're true to themselves, they're going to buy on emotion and the relationship they have with the other person. If they trust the other person, then they're going to buy. If they don't trust the person, they're not going to buy. If they don't believe in the other person, they're not going to buy.
If they perceive that they trust that person, correct. Yeah. And based on what we've learned so far in this program, what do we think that people want? What do people want?
They want to solve problems, but they really want the next best thing, the thing that they believe is going to move them forward. And it all... They
do. Very good.
Yeah.
Continue. Go ahead.
Yet they want to buy the next best thing, except that most times they don't do the work that's needed to be successful.
Interesting. At the times in your career where you got stuck and didn't move forward, why was that?
Probably because I was afraid of taking the next step and what it would bring to me.
Mm-hmm. And because of that, whatever psychological issues were going on, you didn't do the work that you needed to take the next step. And right. So the reason why I got on the call this morning is we have people who registered for this again and said, I want to do this again. And they're not here. They didn't come to the call. They haven't been communicating. They haven't posted the homework to the Facebook group. And it's not new stuff. It's stuff that they need to do to be able to move forward in the program. This program is guaranteed that anyone who graduates from this program will make more money. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Money back. And even if and we have repeat IPers that they didn't even put money into it, but all they had to do is show up. So why do people not come? Well, people don't buy for several reasons. And it's also the same thing as don't take action. So when people don't buy or don't take action, it's for several reasons. So write this down. Number one, they don't believe you. They don't believe you can help them. They don't believe that what it is that you've given them to help them is actually going to help them. They don't believe you. Number two is they don't believe that it will work for them. They might believe you, but it's not going to work for them. It won't work for me. It might work for her. She's good about that. It's not going to work for me. And what other reason? Why do people not buy?
Money.
No, not true.
I was just going to say that. I said, and then I said, no, if they really want something, they're going to find the money for it.
They will. You have. I have. We all have.
Is Carol posting anything? No.
Let me see.
Let's see if Carol.
People buy because they feel you can help them. And then back to the hope quote. So she says, people buy hope. Is what we were talking about on a conversation. And I said, well, it's sort of like that. People, so there's levels. Let me see if I can Google this and put this on the screen and show people. And this is something that I really learned that is super, super valuable about the levels of emotion. So if you look up levels of emotion, And here's a good one. Passion, hopefulness. Oh, it's just the top one. Let's see. And then the downward scale, I want to see one that's on both sides. I just find just a nice emotion triangle without all this drama here. Okay, emotional scale. They got a lot of stuff going. Okay, let me pull this up.
Yeah, we don't see
and
your
note that I'm
screen.
just, well, yeah, I know, because I've got all kinds of other stuff going on. As soon as I pull it up, I will. Oh, now they want to verify my, okay, that one's not going to work. Oh, I think I caught something really bad there, like a bad disease on that one picture. Shouldn't have opened that. I remember I got a really bad bug on my computer when Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel got engaged, and I wanted to see her ring, and I opened up the picture, and all of a sudden my whole computer got taken over. It was ugly, but that looked like something I was getting ready to just open right there, and we don't want to do that. Okay. Okay, I'm going to put my screen on here.
There you are.
So, okay, so can you see the emotional scale? Now, note, I just opened this online. This is not my photo, but it's the closest one that I could show people to this. So here's a level of thoughts and feelings, and you can see, Carol, what do you see at the very bottom? What is the really worst on the right side? What is the worst feeling that most people have?
Shame, guilt.
Shame, guilt, depression, craving, anger, and that's all ill, desperate, and unable. And what are some of the thoughts on the left-hand side?
They're yucky thoughts. They're all negative.
There, well, yeah, I know you're very positive about your words. So you don't even want to read them out loud. But people will say, let's see, they said, I am bad, I did bad, I can't, I need, I won't, I judge. And this is where most people who come to you for help, whether it is for support through the Circle of Love Global, or it's even for business coaching and they need to get help with their business. And this is not people who are broken. This is not people who, a lot of people who come, my ideal clients, my people who are in my C-suite, the people who are my family that I work with one-on-one for a whole year, these are people who have good businesses. They're doing well, but they know that they want to do better and they want to get to a much better place. They just don't know how. And when they don't know how, that's when they do start getting into some of these places because they're smart, they're educated, they've got years of experience. And if I'm all that, or I've been told I'm all that, or I've told myself I'm all that all these years, and why am I stuck now? Why do I not know how to do this? Something's wrong with me. I must be bad. I can't, I need, I won't, I judge. Then they do get angry. Maybe it's even shameful because I just spent 20 years in corporate working for Ted Turner or working for Sotheby's or working for for Trump, and now I don't know how to move my business forward. This should not be a no-brainer. I mean, this should be a no-brainer. So they go through these emotional scales. Your job as a speaker, teacher, trainer is to get your feelings and emotions as high as possible, vibrating at this higher level. So when you're vibrating a higher level, you have to vibrate at a higher level, higher than the emotion that they need to be at in order to buy your product, program, or service. So Carol Morgan, or let's see anybody else other than Carol Mead, since I just told her the answer a few minutes ago, what do you think on this entire scale here is the emotion that people need to be experiencing before they will write you a check? There is a particular level of emotion that people must be at. And this is a huge aha for me in my business because I was doing all the speaking correctly. I was doing all the training correctly. I had all the products, programs, and services. But people were like, oh, it's such a nice talk. You were so inspirational. That was great information. And they wrote it down. And everything was wonderful, but they weren't buying because I did not get them to what level of emotion on the right side of the feelings. People need to be at this place before they will pull out a credit card or write you a check. And that's what I want you everybody in this program to understand. You may have done vision before. You may have done marketing strategies and tactics. You may have done your impact statement, and guess what? Your impact statement needs to be redone probably twice a year at least, because it changes as you continue to work with people and make sales, and your business grows. It evolves. You grow and evolve, and your impact statement's going to change. It's not going to change completely, but it does need to get tweaked. So anybody who says, I don't need this or not here, this is a refocus. And all it is to get you focusing on the right things in the right order at the right time. I promise you, if you will do the homework the way that it is laid out exactly each step, you will be making more money. And if you're not making more money, that's the problem. And if you're having challenge with the recordings, we send the recordings out. But then certainly let us know and we can help with that. So, but what do you think is that emotion that people need to experience or have or be in? What level to be able to buy?
I wonder if it's not passion. I'm
Passion?
looking at
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at the list.
Okay.
It's almost
so the
like
good news is it doesn't have to be that high. That's the good news. The good news is they only need to be at hope. But if you're teaching a class, and think about this, why kids are failing math in high school. This is why I struggle with my son. So where do you think that Caleb was when he could not pass math, I don't know how many times in high school? On this level of emotion, where do you think he was?
He might have been at boredom, apathy.
Boredom, sometimes even depression, guilt, shame, because he's smart, craving, anger, pride, and comparison. Comparison definitely, especially when you're living in a household with a chemical engineer. Boredom for sure. Neutrality. But when does things start changing? When they have hope.
Yeah.
When does hope come? When the teacher starts engaging him and he sees that glimmer of hope, that he understands that he can do it. And when you experience hope, you want to take action. People don't take action because they don't feel hope. So let's say that you have a client who's complaining and they call and they want a refund, or they don't want to do something anymore. That's because they're no longer at that level of emotion. What do you need to do to be able to move them back up to hope? You don't need to get them to passion or enthusiasm or optimism or even any of this. All you have to do is look at all the way to the left. The thought is, maybe I can. Maybe I can. That means they believe, or starting to believe, that it will work, that they can do this. So reasons people don't buy is, one, they don't believe you. They don't believe it will work for them, or they don't believe they can do it. So if people aren't buying your programs, you're not engaging them and getting them up to that level or feeling or thought of hope. How do we do that? Well, first, we have to be very clear on our vision and what we're trying to accomplish. But it has to speak to them. That's what the impact statement is for. If it doesn't speak to them in a place that they are at that moment, not I sell Bibles that help you have a great religious experience and blah, 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 or whatever. That's not what they want, the person that you're trying to help. If you were, let's say you're a pastor and you're trying to bring people to the Lord, and this is not a religious class, but if that's what you're trying to do, you have to meet people where they are. You can't sell them what you want them to ultimately experience, unless those are their words and they've said that's what they want to ultimately experience. We all know that when we go on a journey of personal development or self-growth or even spiritual development, what we think we want in this moment is not where we end up, and it's not what we said we wanted. But as we grow, that changes because you start seeing things differently. So you have to meet people where they are. So Carol Morgan, if you're selling to women who are at home with their children and their children have special needs, and we're selling them the house on the White House on the hill, they're not going to believe you. They're not going to take, and you're not doing this, but they're not going to buy the White House on the hill because they don't even believe that they're going to get out of the house to the grocery store in a calm, peaceful manner, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to meet them where they are and give them hope that, number one, they believe you can help them. Number two, they believe it will work for them. And number three, they believe that they can actually do it. So just because I believe you can help me and I believe that you have what will help me, that doesn't, I may not believe that I can actually do it because I don't have the hope that my situation at home is going to give me the opportunity to do what I need to do. So how do you get that client? If you're having a challenging client at the time, it's not taking action or moving forward. It's not even just buy, but also take action. So the people who didn't come to this call on time, when we set the time, when everybody said this is the time that works for them, it's because they're not at hope anymore. They either don't believe you can help, not you, me, whoever, you can help them. They don't believe that they can do it, or they don't believe that it'll work for them. Which one is it? Interesting, right?
Probably because they don't think it's going to.
No, it's all, every person's different. Every person's different.
Maybe they think they don't need it. They've already surpassed it. So I wonder if that's another part.
So they still don't have hope. They don't believe this. If they think that they've surpassed it, they don't believe that this will help them.
Right.
Or they don't believe that it will work. So that could be the one thing. Or, yeah, that's all great, and that vision stuff. I've had one person ever in 150 people that dropped out of this program, and it was a man. And after vision module 1, I got an email that says, I didn't know you were one of those. And it was Bellany DeShong was my guest. And I'm like, seriously? Like, Bellany's the least woo-woo person I know who teaches this mindset stuff. But it was his mindset. But you know what? It's interesting that the people who don't come back onto the program after they register, they're still in the same place they were.
And they'll stay there.
They will stay there because they're still looking for that thing that will give them hope that's going to grow their business. So there's one of two things. You can continue to look for the magic pill, which doesn't exist, or you can just give it a shot and trust the process. Or you can do nothing, or you can continue to look, or you can give it a shot and trust the process, accept time and a little bit of effort. And it's not just about this program, it's about anything. Certainly I'd take this. So how do people sell $30,000 programs when you have coaches out there that maybe even have a $3,000 program that's even better? Well, the problem is that coach that's selling a $3,000 program hasn't mastered this process of getting people to the level and emotion of hope. So how do you do this? Well, this goes back again to, number one, having a very clear vision of where you want to go and knowing your destination. So where's that homework with the people that have been working on this program? Send your vision in to us. Put it on the Facebook page or send it to me via email, and I will review it. Also, then your impact statement. Your impact statement has to be able to speak to the people that you're talking to, and it has to meet them where they are and what their language is. It doesn't matter what your vehicle is that you're going to use to help them. It doesn't matter if you are a social media person helping someone with their business. It doesn't matter if you're a therapist. It doesn't matter if you're if you're a dry cleaner. A dry cleaner does not. What does a dry cleaner do? Let's talk about this. What does a dry cleaner do?
Okay, that was my parents' business.
Oh, perfect. Look at that. So what does a dry cleaner do?
Cleans clothes.
But why would you pick one dry cleaner over the other?
Convenience to where you usually live and the quality of the work.
Yes, and what else?
How much it cost.
Maybe, maybe not. What else?
Maybe whether they liked you or not.
A relationship. So if I have a shirt that needs to be cleaned, just a regular run-of-the-mill man's shirt, I'm looking at one right now hanging on the neck, Dan's shirt that I had cleaned. He's like, why is this in a cleaner bag when it was brand new the last time I saw it? I'm like, well, it wasn't the peanut butter and chocolate that I spilled when I was watching The Bachelorette. I don't know. So I had a brand new shirt. I had to take it to the cleaners. But why did I get in the car and drive all the way to Boca, which is an hour away, depending on what time it is? It's only 12 miles away, to the dry cleaner there versus the one up the street?
Relationship.
It is, because it's Zari. And Zari is an IPA-er. And Zari is one of the best seamstress and alterations person in the world that I know. But one, they give me a better deal. Two, I trust that it's going to be done no matter what, the right way. They could screw it up, but it would get fixed. Not that it got screwed up, but I know that no matter what, they stand by their word and they're all about integrity. Two, it was a brand new shirt and I didn't want him to find out about it, so it needed to be done right. I had to trust the quality and the service. And three, I had a relationship with Zari.
And you should have taken it out of the plastic bag.
It's still in the plastic bag now. I should have, right?
Taken it out of the bag. You never would have known.
Yeah, you never would have known. But so those three reasons. I had hope. I had hope that I was willing to drive across town and not to the local place to get this fixed. Brand new shirt Dan bought to go on a cruise. It was sitting on the bed. I was watching a Bachelorette, and I was eating my little my sin that I call it's my sugar-free chocolate popsicles, and I dip them in this peanut butter, and that's what I eat. It's like I love Reese's Pieces and Reese's peanut butter cups, so I do that. And all of a sudden I look down, and on this brand new white shirt, it's got a ribbon around it. It's now got peanut butter and chocolate on it. I was like, uh-oh. I'm not going to just take that up to the street. Plus, I had a lot of stuff that needed to be altered and different things, and I wanted everything. One, it was convenient to be able to drop everything off at one place at one time. Two, it was that trust. I knew it was going to get done right. I believed I could do it. It worked for me. I believed that I was going to be taken care of. I have no idea how much I paid to have this shirt clean.
You could have bought a new one.
Who knows, for the price of gas and everything else, probably. But it wasn't about money. Do you see that? It's not about I can't afford it. It was about the three things that I needed, and that was important. Like, I didn't want to get caught, so I needed to get it fixed. So it's the same process in your business. Yeah, she's saying bottom line, yes, what Shelley said, hope and belief is that I was going to be taken care of. So the value of the dress was great, and we wanted the person dealing with it to recognize the value. This wasn't even a dress. This is just a run-of-the-mill white shirt. I should do a blog on this take a picture of this white shirt hanging here and say the story of the white shirt. So
that would be cute.
Yeah, it would. What is it that you're selling that people think they want? So if you're selling something and people aren't buying it, it's because they don't believe you, which means they don't have a trust relationship. They don't believe it will work for them, or they don't believe they can do it. They don't believe in themselves. So which one is it? If you don't cover all three, and it doesn't matter if it's the dry cleaner or if it's woo-woo coaching or if it's a parent and, a parenting organization or it's a networking group that we're charging $90 a person for admittance, who the hell pays $90 to go to a networking group? The right people will, but I have to make sure that I cover that they believe me. That means they have that I have a reputation that I can deliver what I say I'm going to deliver, that they believe that they can do it, and they believe that it will work for them. If they have all those three things covered, they're going to show up with $90. If you have all those three things covered, someone's going to borrow $90. When I signed up for my coaching program with Arab almost 2 years ago, it was $30,000. I had less than $500 in the bank. But I joined anyway. Why? Because I believed them. I believed myself. He brought me up to a place of hope where I believed I could do it, and I believed it was going to work for me. I didn't have the money. So if you're not selling, or your sales are not where they need to be, you're not covering all three of those bases. And how do you do that? It's the exact order we're carrying you through in IPA. One is a vision. Two is an impact statement that speaks their language. And their language is, what are their pains and challenges that they're having today in their words? You can't tell me what you know is wrong with them, because they don't want to hear that. They want to hear what they think is wrong with them. You can't tell me I need to rest, and that's why I'm sick, and because it's stress and I'm not resting. I don't want to hear that. You know, when I was feeling really bad, you can't tell somebody what they need to hear. You have to sell them what they want. So you're looking at, when you walk into Jenny Craig and you want to lose weight, they show you a picture of a woman in a bikini, not the little ass meal they're going to sell you, right? You do not want to know about that. That is the process. There is no magic pill, but they want to see the result. What's the result of the result? So think about it. So she says, for me, my ideal client, now that you have a second shot at your life after cancer, make it count. Oh, look at, somebody just got inspired. I like that. Second shot at your life after cancer. That speaks to me, and I haven't even had cancer, knock on computer here, that I never will. All that other stuff, Carol Mead, that you were telling me on the phone made me glaze over. Not that it's not wonderful, and not that after they work with you, they will be able to say that they had that, but that's not what they're buying today. What they're buying today is what they think they want, and they have to believe you, which means they have a relationship. They have to believe it's going to work for them, and they have to believe that they can actually do it. So what are you doing in your business to do that, to help people see that? So once you have your impact statement and it speaks to people, it's like, I'm an expert at working with smart, driven, creative entrepreneurs to help them get unstuck, unstressed, and out of overwhelm so that they can create priorities, focus on the right things, find their flow, and create a six-figure business and beyond. That just came out. Like, it didn't just happen overnight. It's as you're going along and working with people, you see what you do with people, you hear their words, you write down their language. When you're having your initial consultation with people, whether you're the dry cleaner or whether you're a life coach or you're a therapist or you work at Publix and you're the lady who's selling the Tyson chicken that day for the meal program, you listen to what people say. What's your biggest challenge? Ask them and listen to their words. Write down their exact words. What is it that you want to have as a result of using this product? Write down their words. That's your marketing language. If they're your right client. If they're not your right client, don't write it down because you're just going to mess things up. But ask them, and they'll tell you. When I talk to business owners, it's like, well, what is it that you want? I want to speak. What do you mean you want to speak? Speaking is not an income-producing activity. Speaking is a marketing tactic. Well, why do you want to speak? Well, I want to share my message. Well, what's the result of that? So ask those questions. Yeah, they want to speak, but why? They want to share the message. Well, why do they want to share their message? The result of that is going to be very different depending on who you're talking to. So what do they want? Which is not quite it. No, it's not quite it, but right, good. I hope you're inspired. She says, not quite it, but you have inspired me. So let's get people up to hope. Now, when you're speaking and when you're doing a webinar, if your energy level is at neutral, or you're bored, or you're pessimistic, or you have pride, or you're comparing yourself to someone else at that moment. Let's say that I was getting ready to do a webinar, and then I just found out that my biggest competition just had this big win, and 3 of my clients that I was trying to potentially work with ran over and started working with that person. And then I hop on a webinar. Do you think that my feelings are going to be anywhere above hope at that point? I can say all of the right things. I can do the perfect training class and do everything I want to do and need to do. But if I don't have that energetic vibration of more than hope, because your level and feeling and emotion has to be higher than the one that you want your audience to be at, you're not going to be able to sell anything. It doesn't matter. So right now, where do you think that my feeling is, Carol, based on this scale?
Which Carol?
Carol, anybody. Carol Mead can type it in. And Carol Morgan. Right now, looking at this feeling, me coming on here and doing a live hot seat coaching, what do you think my feeling is with you just hearing me talk and everything, my feelings on this scale?
A passion.
Passion, yeah. So I have to be over hope. If I was neutral, bored, pessimist, if I was angry, Dan will start with me, and I go, I have to get on a call. Don't start your shit. I have to stay in a good place. That's what I'll just tell them. Like, if you want to fight with me, do it after the webinar. I'm not doing it right now. I've got to be in a good place mentally and emotionally. How many times have you tried to sell something and it didn't work, and it's because you were in lack or fear? You were angry, or you were fear, or you're pessimistic. You needed money, so you go out and you try to sell. Caleb's gotten stuck with that. He did door-to-door, and he's made $20,000 in 2 months, and then he's gone out for 2 weeks and not made a penny. Why? Because he was frustrated. He was hot or bothered or whatever. You've got to get yourself into this great emotional state before you go and work one-on-one with someone, you do a webinar, you speak, anything. You've got to be at a level that's higher, at least hopefully 2 or 3 levels higher than hope. So you need to be at optimism, enthusiasm, passion, gratitude, love, and appreciation. Now, this class is not going to be how to get to that place, and we can probably bring in experts for that for a webinar, and we definitely have experts in our program who do that, but you've got to be at that place when you're talking to a client who's unhappy and you need to turn them around, or if you're talking to somebody who is frustrated with their business or frustrated with a relationship or frustrated with whatever, and you have a product or service that can help them, you've got to be at that higher level, and you have to bring them up to hope. And you do that through these processes that we're teaching, which is vision, your impact statement, and then your marketing strategies and tactics. So one of the things I learned before I knew this is I was really good at pulling up pain. So I knew the language of my ideal client. I could talk about, are you frustrated? Do you not have enough time? You don't have enough money? You don't have the support at home? But I was forgetting about the positive part. And a lot of people say, oh, I don't like the negative marketing. I want to only do positive marketing. That's great, but it doesn't work, because then that doesn't work either, because your ideal client needs to know that you understand their pains and challenges, but they also need to hear the positive, which is where they think they want to be, not where you think they need to be. So where they think they want to be. So your marketing needs to include the pains and challenges that they're currently experiencing, and then the result of the result. So that needs to be in your impact statement. So my result of the result was I work with, smart, driven, creative entrepreneurs who are stuck, stressed, and they're overwhelmed, to help them get unstuck, unstressed, and out of overwhelm. And what do I help them do? I help them find their focus, prioritize what's really important, and find their flow so they can have a 6-figure and beyond business. So do you see, and those are the things that they say that they want. When I've asked even my entire C-suite mastermind, what's your biggest problem? And they're like, we can't get focused. Focus is a huge word. So I listen. I write down what people say. I know that they say, I'm stuck, I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed. I can't get moving. I've heard that one a lot. What are some things that you hear people say that they complain to you about? Those are the words that need to be in this. And then what are the things that they want to do? Well, I want a 6-figure business. Everybody thinks they want to make $100,000 a year. They don't even know what that equals, most of them. And a lot of my clients now are already at that level. They're making 6 figures and then much more, but they still want to go to the next level. Or say, for instance, Dawn Burke, who is a 6-figure client. Now she wants to figure out how to scale it and how to remove herself more from it so she can grow her systems better, her processes, and she doesn't have to do as much work and still make the same kind of money. Now, the trick is you have to start over when you get to that level if you weren't already thinking scalability and evergreen when you're creating it. So fortunately, that's what we worked on this last year, was her scalability and her evergreen, even when she wasn't scaling yet. Everything we did, we put in place to make sure that she remained scalable, so when it gets to that place, she can start removing herself out of business and turn it over to people who can do what they need to do. Even if it's just another graphic designer or just somebody now doing her QuickBooks. Last year I had somebody do her QuickBooks. Now because of that, she can put her finger on exactly what her expenses are and what her income is, and that grew her income by 20% alone because she could focus on it, knew what to focus on. So, who here is ready to make some money? Let's see. We got some more people on here. Okay. Miss Sandra Lennett's here as well. And I see her on there twice, actually. So do you like this? Are you getting this? Carol, how about you, Carol Morgan? I know we didn't incorporate this emotional scale in IPA, so this is a bonus that people are getting. But do you like that? You see how that can help you?
I think it's neat.
Yeah, neat. I'm going to write that word down. I'm going to use that in my marketing. It's the first time I've heard that one, so I'm not sure it might be the right one. Carol Mead, what do you think about this philosophy that we're talking about here? Let's see.
She says this is great.
This is great. Do you see how it can help you in your business?
It's like you have to do jumping jacks and do your pow, pow, pow to get your enthusiasm.
My pow, 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 exactly.
Yeah.
I did that yesterday. Was it 2 days ago when we did the webinar with Mary? She gets here. We're getting ready to start. I just start jumping up and down in my living room. And I have back problems, right? Mary's going, she's crazy. But Mary's got on her princess crown. Mary is a former veterans therapist and has worked in hospice. Like, she can be very serious. So she wears a princess crown, and we're jumping up and down the room going, pow, 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 and all excited to get our energy level up, to get our vibrational level up before we get on this webinar so that I can be at this higher level. Because you've got to be over hope. If you yourself are not at an emotion level above hopeful, you're never going to get a client up to hope. And you're not going to sell, and you're going to be broke, stay broke, and no one's going to buy from you. And then you're just going to continue to spiral down this whole thoughts and feelings and blah, blah, contracted emotion. And it's an icky thing because they don't teach you this in business school. I went to business school. They don't teach you this. But guess what? Then you go to the woo school, and they don't teach you business. So you've got to know both of it. And there's nowhere in the world that teaches both. That's why you have coaches who can do both, and that's why we teach this stuff, because that it's in my whole life. Like, I knew business, but I didn't know this piece, and then I get stuck and I didn't know why. And then there's people who really know this, but they don't know business, and then they get stuck and they don't know why. So you've got to have it all works together. That's why we teach now the 5 parts of a business, not 4. We know what the 4 are. We've covered the 4 already, which is 1, creating your business, 2, getting the business, 3, doing the business, 4, running your business, and the 5th piece is you. And that you is the emotional piece. It's also taking care of yourself, because it's not really good when you get exhausted and you can't work and you have to automate a program. So you have to take care of yourself too. But me telling somebody who's not taking care of themselves to take care of themselves doesn't work. I already know that. So you have to talk to them you have to talk to me about a place about how I can serve my clients better, or how I'll get to spend more time with my son. What's really important to me? Not, you need to take care of yourself, or if not, you're going to get sick and this and that. People that are all about taking care of other people, they don't really, you can say that all day long. They're not going to hear you, because that's not important to them. What's important to them is, and you have to ask, you have to find out. Like, I know it's very important to Carol Morgan to be there for her son, especially on Saturdays, because that's the time she's allocated to spend with him. It's very important to me to have time with my son, period. Nothing else comes first. If I have to do an event, he's doing it with me, which is why I created a business around that. That's what my whole business is about, is being able to create a business that I can have. It can work with my life versus my life have to work around it. And sometimes it doesn't go that way, but it's a process. So let's get back on it. And you still have your recording up?
I haven't touched it.
Okay. So I'm going to turn it back over to you. And
I don't know where it is, though, because you have your frame.
I'm going to turn this back over to you.
Okay, well, let's see what happens.
Okay, I've turned it back over to you, and it's all yours.
Okay, let's see what happens. I see nothing. Ah.
There you go.
Well, what's coming on? Oh.
Okay, so anybody who hears this call, put that on pause really quick. I got a deal for you. For the people who showed up today, last minute, because I sent this out to every IPAer to come on the call, not just people who are in this program, who are registered for this cycle. So if you hear this within 24 hours of this call being done, and you send me your vision and your impact statement, minimum, and you send that to me within 24 hours of this call playing, Carol Morgan will contact you and set up a private one-on-one session with me. And I will give her a list of the dates and the times. If it's 150 people, I will figure it out. It won't be, though, because you know what? Most people don't do the work, and they're still going to be in the same place they were a month from now, 6 months from now, and a year from now. You have to make the decision which person you are. So anybody who is on this call, this only went to IPA people who've been in IPA before, but if you will do the work and send me your updated vision and updated impact and vision statement, we'll set up a time to do a session with me, and Carol Morgan will set it up, and I'll give her a list of those times. But it has to be received at my email, Shelley, with an EY, SHELLEY, at My Personal Business Coach, within 24 hours of this coming out, which is 11. Actually, it'll probably go out at noon, the recording. So this is going out at noon. And so by noon tomorrow on Wednesday, whatever emails we've received, that person will receive a complimentary session with me to review your vision and your impact statement so we can look at the marketing strategies that you're doing and what you're not doing and make those changes so we can start making some money.